again, everyone, and welcome back to Can I Just Say podcast. I took last week off, and I'll get into that after the astrology, but we don't really have a whole lot going on astrologically this week, but we did just have a full moon in Scorpio yesterday. If you recall, full moons are for releasing, and Scorpio is the dark, intense, intimate water sign of the zodiac. So the full moon in Scorpio is showing us areas where we have felt maybe we are not receiving reciprocal energy in our relationships, and showing us places where we are possibly needing more intimacy, more time for luscious things, and where we really need to say no more often. So Scorpio is also associated with the Death card in the tarot, which is one of the scarier cards that people tend to not look forward to receiving. But the Death card is more focused on like a death and rebirth type of process. So full moons are for releasing. Scorpio is all about kind of allowing old things to die off. So this is a very transformative full moon. The energies of the full moon can typically be felt a couple of days before and a couple of days after. If you look in the sky, the moon will look full for, a couple of days before and after the full moon, so the energies can be felt. So if you've been feeling very intense, very much like you need to let go of a lot of things, I know lately for me, I have been very focused on organizing and letting go of things in my home that do not bring me joy anymore. I have a move possibly looming this year too, so it's kind of the perfect energy for me to get into that space of letting go of things that I don't need anymore. So there was no podcast last week. I actually just got back from vacation. I had recorded 2 podcasts so that I could make sure that there was no lull in the show before I went on vacation. So 2 of the last 2 podcasts that you heard before this one were ones that were recorded like at the beginning of April. But I went on vacation. I went out to Chattanooga, so I got to see around kind of like that little area of where Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama meet. Kind of in that little area. I went to Huntsville, Alabama. I had a really great time. I was looking forward to that trip. I was looking forward to really reconnecting with nature, really reconnecting with myself. Where I live in Texas, we don't really get the seasons all that much. We have, most of Texas is summer and not summer. If you're from Texas, you recognize that joke. But in Texas, in this part of Texas, we don't typically have very many seasonal changes. Like, we don't typically have a winter like you would see where you would get snow and have colder temperatures like that. We don't typically have like spring, summer, and fall in the typical sense. So I was really excited to go out and be in Appalachia again, and to just kind of see the green, see the life, reconnect with nature, like I said, see some lakes, all that kind of stuff. And I did. I had the best time. It was one of my favorite trips that I've ever taken. It was my first solo trip by myself. I was so proud of myself for making it that far. But I came back feeling very refreshed and renewed. But I also came back feeling very sort of not at home still. And I recognized that nature is one of the most important things for me to feel like I'm at home. And granted, I know we all have to feel at home within our own bodies first. We have to feel at home because anywhere we are in the world, we have to make sure that we're at home in who we are. And I'm getting there. I know we are all a work in progress for things like that, and I'm getting there. But we have to also recognize that sometimes our outside circumstances have to reflect what we're feeling inside as well. So when our outside circumstances don't reflect so much what we're feeling inside, it can create that kind of like push and pull type of energy where we're not really kind of getting set in those new patterns that we're creating for ourselves internally because our outside environment is not reflecting what we want for ourselves as well. So I recognize that I crave that green, lush, expansive nature. So it's got me feeling kind of, sort of, still in that mindset of that limbo, that kind of like dark side of, I know that my old life is ending, but the new one hasn't quite begun yet. So I guess that was a decent place to start. This is a topic that I've touched on before, and honestly, I've debated continuing to talk about it as to not want to beat a dead horse, but also my goal of this podcast is for it to be helpful. And speaking on this topic kind of felt like I was complaining, but then I realized that for most of us, we don't just go through depression to living our best life like we see on social media a lot. So maybe me touching on this subject again and letting you know that, sometimes we have those moments where we feel like we're at our darkest. We see the light again and we come towards the light, but then that darkness kind of seeps back in a little bit. So maybe someone else out there is feeling a similar way than I have, or maybe your life at some point you have felt that way. So let this be the reminder that you are not alone, and it's a great look at how much progress you have made. So I've been sitting with this really weird mix of emotions lately, like I mentioned, and I figured instead of trying to organize it or make it inspirational or clean, I'd just talk to you like I would talk to my best friend. Because I guess that's kind of what we are when you press play on this podcast. So here is where I've been at lately. Raw, real, and vulnerable. I've been feeling like I'm useless. And mostly in the sense that I recognize that I have people who care about me, who say they care about me and who say they love me, and I have friends and all of that. But I have been feeling like I'm neglected almost. That I hear these people saying, if you want to talk or if you want to hang out, reach out. If you want to, text me, things like that. But they don't make the effort to reach out to me. So it makes me feel like, their life is going on without me, so my life can continue to go on without them. And I'm not trying to say this in a dramatic way, not like, oh, my life is over. But it just kind of feels like I'm floating. Like no one really actually needs me. I'm not quite connecting with the people with my people the way that I used to. And I'm not quite connected to myself the way that I used to be either. It feels more like I'm walking around in this body that knows how to move, but doesn't know where it's going anymore. It's that functional depression again. I've been doing really well at organizing my home and ridding my space of clutter and all of the things that don't bring me joy anymore. But it's almost like I have no feelings left at all. I'm just sort of numb. Like I know I need to be feeling certain things, or I know that I should be feeling happy, or I should be feeling excited, or I should be feeling this or that or whatever way. I'm just numb. And for me, this is usually a warning beacon because I'm such an intense and sensitive person that when I get to a place where I really just don't feel anything, I know something else is up. It's so weird too because I do have motivation. I have the energy, I have drive, I want to do something. It's like something deep in me is fired up, but I don't have a direction to point it toward. There's no vision right now, no clear goal, just this kind of stirring, this ache, this quiet, persistent voice that says move, even though it won't tell me where or why or how. There's a part of me that feels completely overwhelmed by this because I have so many options. I can stay doing exactly what I'm doing and get some sort of corporate job just to continue to survive or scrape by. I can go all in with my healing business and trust that being an entrepreneur is my calling. I just recently became certified as a Reiki practitioner, so I have that on top of all of the other things that I have collected over the years. I can move and start a brand new life in a brand new place. It's all so much, and this is where I feel I just don't have a direction. The new life sounds enticing, but I wonder how much of that is me running away from some hidden parts of me that I still haven't uncovered yet. And how much of it is my soul yearning for something new and exciting, because that is when I feel the most alive. When I'm starting over somewhere, becoming who I will in that space at that time, that's what I have grown to love the most. It's the opportunity to truly become a whole new person with a new identity. I've been thinking a lot about what this space kind of is. This in between. It's not quite depression. It's not excitement. It's just sort of this limbo. Like the old version of me is gone, but the new version hasn't fully arrived yet. It's sort of knowing that the changes that are coming are unstoppable, and you're kind of just ready for them to happen already, like ripping the band-aid off so you can just start to feel something again. Have you ever felt like that? Like you're in the hallway between two chapters and all the doors are still closed? I keep asking myself, what am I supposed to do with this? How do I move when I can't see the road? How do I keep showing up in the world when I feel invisible, even to myself? And I guess part of why I'm recording this is because I want to stop pretending like I have it all figured out. I want to talk from the middle, not from the breakthrough, not from the polished story, just from the now. When I'm in here, in this shit, you're here with me. Because here's the truth. I've realized that this feeling of uselessness is kind of a lie. Or maybe, I guess, more an outdated programming. We live in a world that tells us our worth is tied to our utility. What we produce, how needed we are, how on we can be for other people. And when you step away from that, or when life pulls you away from that, suddenly you feel like you don't matter. This is part of why I debated doing this episode, because I don't like how this makes me feel like a, I guess, pick-me type. In full honesty, I am, for the right person or people. I want to be chosen. We all do. I want to be chosen intentionally and be such a priority that I don't question if I'm useful or loved or supported in the ways that I need to be. But I'm clinging on to things that have brought any sort of normalcy to my life. I don't fear starting from scratch. I have done it multiple times in the past, but I tend to stand in my own way because I can do and become anything. And I fear how bright and bold and successful I can be when I start prioritizing myself and my future. I'm so used to being punctual, always having a plan or a schedule, and I'm always the one who is 10 minutes early for anything. But when so much hangs in the balance right now, I feel like I don't have any control. I allow the feelings of urgency to disturb my peace, and I have worked very hard to be at peace, to live a calm, flowing lifestyle, and it's being picked apart right in front of my eyes. And you know what? I have no one and nothing to blame but myself for feeling that way. Did I procrastinate when I could have been doing something? Absolutely. I chose to follow an quote-unquote easier path for a while, and it has served me pretty well on my healing journey. Did I choose to build this peaceful, calm life for myself? I sure did. And honestly, when I look at it from this viewpoint, instead of living on edge, wearing multiple masks so that I can fit in, and wrecking my nervous system in all kinds of ways. Instead, I find myself slowly reincorporating back into society and recognizing what disturbs my peace and instantly being able to decide that that is not for me. So I'm starting to see this useless feeling void type of space as a cocoon. It's not that I'm useless, it's that I'm becoming. Something is shifting, something is realigning, and just because I can't see the next version of myself yet, doesn't mean that it's not forming. It's just forming in the dark, in the shadows. And dark doesn't mean bad, it means quiet. It means internal. It means something sacred is happening where no one else can see it. And maybe that's the point. I think sometimes the most important parts of our evolution happen when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping for us, when we feel the most alone. Because that's when it becomes real. That's when it becomes ours. You know, I keep thinking about how seeds grow underground, how caterpillars dissolve into complete goo before becoming butterflies, how winter looks dead but is actually just nature sleeping, preparing for something wild and beautiful. So why do we panic when we feel like nothing's happening? Why do we call ourselves useless when we're just in transition? I think part of the reason I still feel motivated, even though I don't know where I'm going, is because my soul knows. There is some part of me that knows there's a next chapter. That's the thing. Even in my absolute loneliest, most disconnected moments, there's this thread I keep holding. And that thread says, keep going. Even if you're blindfolded, even if you're crawling, just keep going. And I guess I wanted to record this and say, if you're in that same space right now, you're not crazy. You're not lazy. You're not behind. You are just becoming. This in between isn't a punishment. It's not any sort of delay. Think of it like a womb. And yeah, it's dark in here. And sure, it's quiet. But maybe that's because you're finally being asked to listen to yourself. Not the noise, not any other voices, just you. I've been trying to ask better questions lately, not what's my purpose or what should I be doing, but things more like, what feels honest right now? What tiny thing am I being drawn to, even if it doesn't make sense? What if I trusted this confusion? And what if I didn't need clarity before I moved? I don't have all the answers yet, but I do have glimpses. I have the little nudges. A sentence I want to write down. A song I want to hear again. A conversation that makes me feel more human. And I think those little things matter. I think they're breadcrumbs, leading us somewhere we haven't seen yet. I am amazed at the progress I didn't recognize I made, where one moment I feel like I am so behind. In the next, I can see the larger picture and realize how much this hibernation or gestation period was setting me up for much greater future success and confidence. So if you're like me, if you've been feeling unneeded, disconnected, or blurry, but somehow still lit up by some explainable inner push, I want you to know that push means something. That light is not random. That fire is for something. Even if you can't name it yet. The truth is, you might not be able to skip the waiting, but you can be gentle with yourself in it. You can soften into it instead of resisting it. You can let it teach you. So today, I don't have any sort of 5-step plan or any sort of cure-all be-all. I'm just offering you this. You're not alone. You are not useless. And this part of your story is not an accident. Let the next chapter come in its time. And while you wait, hold on to the fire. If this episode hit something for you, I'd love to hear from you. You don't have to have words for it. Just let me know you're out there. We're out here, becoming together. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you next week. Take care.